March basketball is back here at the Hall. The men's team will take on the 2012 TCU Horned Frogs tonight in the 8-9 matchup of the NCAA tournament, and last night the women's team knocked off the Fairleigh Dickinson Knights in the first round of the WNIT. Will the men's team defeat TCU in their first round matchup? Can the women's team continue their postseason success? My panel and I will discuss these questions and more. My name is Ryan Henry, and this is Hall Talk. Hello and welcome back to Hall Talk. Once again, I'm Ryan Henry, joined alongside my panel for today, Liam Harding and Ryan Johnson. Before we get into today's episode, guys, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good today. It's beautiful weather. Can't wait to go outside later after this is all done.
Oh yeah, great day. Great day to be a Pirate. Big games coming up for us, Ryan. I'm really excited to see how these go.
Big games indeed, and a big day to be a Pirates fan. TCU Pirates, they're on the dock for tonight, and we'll get jumping into that game. They are getting the late night game, 10 o'clock p.m. The 9th-seeded 20-12 TCU Horned Frogs will be taking on the Seton Hall Pirates. And now, the big concern going into this match is obviously TCU's stifling defense. They're one of the best defensive teams in the entire country, holding their opponents to just over 60 points per game, and they had a 4-game stretch in conference play where they held their opponents to under 60 points. Guys, if you're the Pirates, how do you combat this stifling defense led by Mike Miles Jr. and Damian Ball?
I think you'd have to get the offense rolling, and that starts with Jared Rhoden. Although he had a quiet game against UConn when they lost in the Big East tournament, he's still the leader of the team, a consistent player, just overall great guy. Get the ball in his hands, get the offense rolling through him, and if he's not able to get it done, hopefully the guys around him, Kadari Richmond and Miles Kell, can get it done for the team and get the win.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big part of it, putting the ball in Jared Rhoden's hand. But I think an even bigger part of it is just getting the ball moving. Finding the open man is something that this Pirates team has really struggled with all season long. They're in the bottom 1% of Division I teams in assists per game. That is absurd to be a team of this quality, an NCAA tournament team, and to be so bad at passing the ball. Honestly, it shows how talented they are offensively, that they're able to win so many games with such low assist numbers. But against a team like TCU, like that we've talked about, so stout defensively, they need to pass the ball more. They need to find the open man. They need to get the open shots going.
Yeah, I agree. They can't rely upon iso ball. While they do have great shot creators in Jared Rhoden and Miles Kell and even Jameer Harris off the bench, you got to get the ball moving. As the old saying goes, the ball moves faster than players. So if you can find open looks, multiple passes in one possession, that really comes down to Kadari Richmond initiating the offense, allowing the ball to start flowing freely. I think the Pirates will find some success even against this stifling TCU defense. Now, another big concern for the Pirates is the rebounding ability of the Horned Frogs. The Horned Frogs are one of the best rebounding teams, not even just in the Big 12, but in the entire country. They have an almost 40% offensive rebound rate, rank in the top 5 in offensive rebound percentage. Emmanuel Miller Jr. averages almost 3 offensive rebounds a game. And we talk about how the Pirates sometimes struggle against rebounding, especially on the offensive glass. What are your concerns, especially if TCU can get multiple possessions, second, third, fourth chance opportunities in one possession?
Well, this is something that we've seen this Pirates team struggle with at times throughout the season, especially against that Villanova game away. Eric Dixon had something like 6 offensive rebounds in that one, Ryan. He was just all over the offensive glass against UConn. Adama Sanogo has been killing us on the offensive boards all year long. This needs to be a major point of emphasis for the Pirates moving forward. They're a good rebounding team when they throw all their bodies at the rim. They really are. Ike Obiagu needs to step up tonight. This is a big game for Ike Obiagu. Not the best rebounder, even at 7'2", or however tall he is. He needs to step up. He needs to get some boards tonight.
I don't think it's just on Ike's shoulders. I think it's on all four of them. Ike Obiagu, Alexis Yetna, Tyree Samuel, and Trey Jackson. I mean, the last two games in the Big East tournament alone against Georgetown and UConn, we were out-rebounded 94-67, and that's collaborative defensively and offensively on both sides of the ball. No one could get a rebound, and UConn, the highest rebounder was Alexis Yetna with 6 rebounds. I mean, they're very big, very physical players, but I think they're kind of too scared sometimes to play in the paint against big men like Adamu Sinagu and all the other big guys in the league. They're big and they're just kind of scared. They're playing scared in the paint. I think if tonight they're able to play physically like they are capable of, it'd be a whole different story for Seton Hall.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you guys. I mean, this is a game based on what ESPN's predicted, their ESPN bracket predictor. This is close to a 50-50 game as you're going to get. So this game is going to be decided on who can get more possessions. And like you said, getting out-rebounded by almost 30 in 2 conference games is simply unacceptable. It's not only just on Ike Obiagu, who I do think has to step up in the rebound department, but Alexis Yetna is going to have to crash. We've seen Jared Rhoden get double-digit rebounds, even at 6'4". So I think it's going to be a collaborative team effort, but they really need to emphasize boxing out, hustling for loose balls, and I think that could be the X factor to winning this game. Now, shifting over to TCU's weaknesses, obviously they're a 9 seed, they're not perfect in any sense. Biggest weakness might have to be their three-point shooting. They are a 30% three-point shooting team from behind the arc, second worst in the Big 12, I believe. And how can the Pirates can capitalize that? They're a team that's known, especially this year, to defend the three-point shot well. How can they do that in combination with forcing some turnovers? TCU averaging 14 turnovers a game, create easy opportunities in transition.
I mean, because of their TCU's inability to shoot beyond the arc, I feel like that's going to be a great opportunity for Kadari Richmond and Miles Cale, who lead the team in steals, 1.5 and 1.6 steals per game. And they're very good on the arc, defending around the perimeter. Jared Rhoden, even the big guys, I think through 1 through 4, with the exception of Ike Obiagu, all of them can close out easily to the 3 and get stops going. And if they're not shooting at the perimeter, they're going to be passing around a lot more. And we saw in the tournament, in the Big East tournament, that they're able to get some shot clock violations. So I think they're going to be able to capitalize on steals with how great of defenders Kadari Richmond and Miles Cale are, but also possibly get some shot clock violations, which will be very big in the momentum swing throughout the game.
Yeah, really what the Pirates just need to do is stop the drive. This team, like you said, they really cannot shoot very well. Pirates are a good defensive team in general. They normally hold their opponents below their shooting averages. I think their opponents only shoot around 30% per game from behind the arc, and coupled with a TCU team that's already shooting 30% per game behind the arc, could be a rough shooting night for TCU if the Pirates really lock in defensively. That being said, just stop them driving, honestly. Just collapse the defense every single time anyone drives, because I'd rather give up an open 3 than an open layup any day of the week against this TCU team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a 30% three-point shooting team, obviously in favor of the Pirates. They do have a lot of long and athletic defenders. They can throw out guys like Damian Ball and Mike Miles Jr. They have guys like Miles Cale. Kadari Richmond's gonna be an impactful player in tonight's game, and it's really gonna come down to you're gonna have to force TCU to be with the 3-ball, and I think that plays well into the Pirates' hands. Now, going to the Pirates, who do you guys think is going to be the biggest X factor in tonight's match?
I'm gonna go with, I think, Kadari Richmond. The ball handler for the Pirates for the majority of this second half of the season. He's coming off, he's had an injured thumb the past couple of weeks, and he's now had a bit of rest to try and heal that thumb up moving into this NCAA tournament. I think that if he can shoot the ball well tonight, the Pirates will fare very well. He's been, at times, a good shooter this season. Even with the hitch in his jump shot, he's shown that he can consistently hit it from behind the arc at times. If he can hit it from behind the arc tonight, I think the Pirates should come out of San Diego with a win.
Oh. For myself, I kind of have 2 players that could be an X factor for the Pirates. First and foremost, Miles Cale. I mean, him and Jared Rhoden Jared Rhoden also got a little bit of playing time in March Madness years ago. But Miles Cale, he started 2 of those games against NC State and then against Wofford, and he got some points. So I think his veteran experience in the regular season and in March Madness is going to be able to help. Plus, he's heating up at the right time, I think. 14 points against Georgetown, 17 points against UConn, leading the way in scoring for the team. Huge impact by the veteran player. He's getting it done defensively, getting it done offensively. I think if he can keep this momentum up, it's going to be a good thing for the Pirates. But I also think Alexis Yetna could be an X factor tonight. We've seen it in the regular season. He's able to get a double-double, with ease. And, he had some scoring problems in the tournament. 6 points against UConn, but kept shooting the three ball. He's normally shooting the three ball all decently, but he kept forcing shots. I feel like if he focused on what he's good at, the pick and pop and in the paint, getting some easy layups, he's going to have a great game, and just got to clean up on the boards. If he's able to do that and execute that, I think we're going to be in for a good game.
I like your guys' pick, Ryan, with your pick of Kadari Richmond. I think he's going to have a tough out against one of the best players in the Big 12 in Mike Miles. But, Kadari Richmond has been one of the best defensive players, not even just the Big East, but in the entire country. There's a reason why he's a highly regarded prospect. It's because of his defensive length, size, intellect, and just overall hustle on that end. And to your point, Liam, about Miles Cale, this is a TCU team with a lot of inexperience. They only have one player who's ever played in the tournament, and he only played last year. He was a transfer from Texas Tech. And so Miles Cale, he broke the record for most played games as a Seton Hall Pirate. So him, Jared Rhoden, Ike Obiagu, these are guys who have had March Madness experience, multiple conference tournaments experiences. This is something that can elevate them in playing in big games like this, which the TCU team is not really situated for. But for my pick for the biggest X factor for tonight's game, it has to be Ike Obiagu. You mentioned a bit earlier, Ryan, he does struggle to get rebounds. He averages only 4 rebounds a game despite standing at 7'2". TCU, they are hounds on the glass. Ike needs to box out and grab defensive rebounds. 4 is just not going to cut, especially in a match like this. And also, on the defensive end, his impact and presence in the paint as a rim protector, we know the block shots again, but he can also just overall affect shots and turn made layups into misses. Damian Ball, Mike Miles, these are guys who thrive inside the paint and drawing contact on fouls. And Ike Obiagu can make their life very difficult. But on the other hand, he does struggle to defend the three-point out in the pick and roll. So I think he is going to be the biggest X factor. And if he plays well, I think the Pirates will win. But if he doesn't play well, I can see them losing. Now, before we go over to the women's game, guys, give me your final score predictions. This is a 50-50 game. It can really go anyway, but I want to hear your guys' opinions on this game.
I mean, I've typically been a negative Nancy, but I actually have faith in our Pirates in this game because of, as Ryan said, the experience that Ike and Jared Rhoden and Miles Cale bring. So I say Hall 67, TCU 62. Although the tournament has been full of many upsets so far, I don't think the Horned Frogs are going to get it done in this matchup.
Yeah, and an 8-9 matchup isn't a big upset to begin with. 8 seeds beat 9 seeds all the time. 9 seeds beat 8 seeds all the time. So I'm going to have to agree with you guys. I want to stay positive. Super go Pirates. I'm going to go TCU 64, Pirates 71.
I mean, like you guys said, this game can go any way. And I mean, ESPN Bracketology has this 51-49 split in favor of the Horned Frogs. I'll go with you guys and say the Pirates are going to win. I'm going to say they're going to win 63-58. This is going to be a grueling defensive matchup. It's going to look ugly at times. There's going to be multiple minute scoring droughts from both ends, but I think the Pirates will narrow it out. Like you said, Liam, the veteran experience is on the Pirates' side, but this game can go either way. It's really going to come down to going to go down to key plays late in the second half, and I think the Pirates will execute on that. So now shifting over to the women's team and their run in the WNIT. Last night they took down the Fairleigh Dickinson Knights 67-45, including going on a 16-0 run in the fourth quarter. Yes, you heard that right. The Fairleigh Dickinson Knights scored 0 points in the fourth quarter. Now, guys, this was a very close match, especially in the first half, but the Pirates were able to pull away, especially in that fourth quarter. So guys, take me down. What do you think led to the Pirates really, taking that next step, flipping that switch in the fourth quarter and blowing out this Fairleigh Dickinson team?
It was really the press that the Pirates implemented. They started implementing sort of a soft three-quarters court press where they would try to trap it immediately after the Knights would go over midcourt, and it really worked wonders. A great play, great defensive strategy right there by Coach Bozzella, because the Knights were just out of sorts completely. They couldn't get out and run after a defensive rebound at all. They couldn't get out and run after a make at all. They were just out of sorts. They couldn't get anything going late in the fourth because of it. And I think that press really just allowed the Pirates to get that momentum they needed to get the win.
I think, it comes down to the atmosphere of the gymnasium you play in. We've all been there, whether we're watching our high school teammates, intramurals, even now in college. You like having the fans to have your back, the feeling in there. And the Walsh Gymnasium, you could feel the excitement from the fans and the energy, and athletes feed off that energy. It makes them want to perform well for their school, their friends, their teammates. So I definitely think that not only was it what you said, Ryan, about the defense Coach came out with, but I also really think that the energy of the fans really helped the girls get the win last night.
I mean, you guys are both right, Ryan. I mean, the stifling defense of the Pirates threw the Knights out of all sorts and allowed the Pirates not even just to prevent the Knights from scoring, but allowed them to get easy looks in transition, allowed Lauren Park Lane to find her flow within the offense. But also, Liam, to your point, I mean, home court advantage thing in sports, I mean, as much as you want to deny it is a thing. The packed atmosphere of Washington Museum, once we've seen what this crowd can do, not only for the men's team, but for the women's team as well, as when they have fans behind their back. And I think that's really what helped them. The Pirates were able to flip that switch, get into next year, show why they are such a great team and one of the better teams in the Big East, and easily took care of business against the Fairleigh Dickinson Knights. Now I want to talk about one of the key players in this match, Lauren Park Lane, who has been one of the best players, not just in the Big East, but the entire country. Third in Division I in assists per game, in the running for Big East Player of the Year, made first team All Big East selection. She had 29 points, including 20 in the second half. Guys, I just want you to comment a bit on her amazing performance last night.
I think Lauren Park Lane is starting to cement herself as probably one of, if not the greatest women's basketball player in Seton Hall history. She beat her own single season record in assists. She beat her own single game record in assists in a game, and she's only a junior. Like, let's not forget that. She's like putting up numbers offensive, like scoring wise and, assist wise, and she's only a junior. She's only going to continue to get better. But this proves that, she doesn't have to facilitate to help get the win. I mean, Andra Espinosa-Hunter, 7 points. Sydney Cooks, 10 points. Yes, Sydney was getting her groove back in a little bit, but Andra kind of struggled, shooting 1 for 7 from 3. Not typical numbers for her, but Lauren Park Lane saw that they needed to step up, and instead of facilitating to her teammates that weren't getting the job done, took the ball in her own hands, scored 29 points. If she continues to have this offensive prowess, whether it's scoring or facilitating, I think the women's can make a deep run in the WNIT.
Yeah, Lauren has just been incredible all season long, really past couple of years. It's been amazing to see her growth as a player from high school to today. I always bring it up every time I have to talk about Lauren, that she went to my high school. I watched her in high school, played against her a lot in high school. She's just an incredible player, and to see her growth these past couple of seasons, winning Most Improved Player last year, and Big East first team All Big East last year, now repeating first team All Big East, showing that she's not a one-season wonder, getting unanimous first team All Big East this year. She's just been incredible, and 1,000 points by her junior year. She's doing it all for the Pirates right now, honestly. She's become a great leader, and she's one of the greatest players in Seton Hall women's basketball history, without a doubt.
I mean, clearly one of the best players in Seton Hall history. She can do it all. She's an amazing facilitator, amazing scorer. She even gets down the defensive end despite her size, and she's really cementing herself as one of the best players in the Big East and in Seton Hall history. I mean, like you said, Ryan, she's really stepped up as a leader. This team did experience some turmoil, especially in the beginning of the year, and LPL stepped up kind of as that number one option, and said this is how we're going to run things, and she really kind of changed the dynamic of this team. They went from bottom feeding in the Big East to losing in the semifinals in the Big East tournament, winning in the first round of the WNIT. So she's really helped change the culture of this team and change the season around, and she clearly has her place etched in Seton Hall women's history. Now, guys, obviously they won in pretty convincing fashion, a 20-point blowout, but I think there are some things to take away that they can potentially improve upon. What do you guys think they need to improve upon in their next match, whether they play against VCU or in their second round matchup in the WNIT?
Really, it's just a lot of sloppy turnovers. This team, sometimes they just throw the ball away. Lauren, as great as she is, in that first quarter, she had 3 or 4 turnovers alone. She was making some bad passes. That's kind of a tendency that she can have at times, force a bad pass trying to make a great play. So they really just need to slow the ball down, limit the turnovers on offense, and play within themselves. You don't need to make a three-pointer, step back three-pointer every single play. Sometimes just move the ball around, find the wide open Maya Bembry for a baseline jump shot, something like that. Just play within themselves, limit the turnovers.
To speak on that, you said the step back jump shots, you don't have to make them all the time. I think they really need to improve on their shooting, not only from the beyond the arc, but from the free throw line. I mean, in the first half, they shot 1 for 4. They shot 25% from the free throw line. We see in men's games, women's games all the time, all the levels. A free throw can be the difference maker in a game, in a win or a loss. And in the second half, they were able to shoot from 100%. But first quarter, still 25%. That's not really that good, especially as a collegiate athlete. And then from the beyond the arc, in the first and third quarters, they shot 16.67% from 3, collectively. And then you have four amazing players that are able to shoot beyond the arc, whether it's Maya Jackson, Sydney Cooks as the big woman's able to do that, Andrea Espinosa-Hunter, and Lauren Park Lane. 16.67% is abysmal. And I think if they focus on shooting and not take those fancy step back jumpers and focus on the fundamentals of just a basic wide open look for a three, that can definitely help them.
I 100% agree. I believe they do need to limit their turnovers, especially uphill. For how great she is, prone sometimes to making turnovers. I think she had more turnovers than assists in the match against the Knights. But also, like you said, Liam, I mean, they have to get better, easier looks. They can't rely on Andrea Espinosa-Hunter and Lauren Park Lane and bailing them out, making difficult shots. That's not going to be sustainable, especially as you get deeper in the season, playing better teams like either Stony Brook or VCU. And I think another thing they have to do is they need to be more consistent on the defensive end. This is the problem I think we've been seeing the entire year from the Pirates. They're way too inconsistent. They're very half-based. And so, we saw them clamp down against the Knights for that entire fourth quarter and also in that third quarter. But, where was that energy and effort in the first quarter? I think if they can be a consistent team, they can play all 40 minutes of a game. I think they could easily go very deep into this WNIT, but they've struggled to play a game 40 minutes out and play their best basketball for 40 minutes out. That's all. You guys have anything else? Wrap it up. Okay, that'll do it for this episode of Hall Talk. Once again, I'm Ryan Henry, joined alongside my analysts, Liam Harding and Ryan Johnson. Hope you guys have a nice day and stay safe. Take care.